call it to order straight at, we got 7:01. My name is Shane Mize. I'm the Director of Parks and Rec. Lisa's not here, and next month we'll be re-voting for chair, so I'll just be filling in today. First up is citizens communication. Come on in. I know we have at least one person interested in, I think. Yeah? Do you want to do any public comment? You'll need to step over, sit by one of these speakers here. Say your name. We give you 3 minutes.
Well, my name's Dale Woodkey. I'm a resident of Pflugerville. I'm a transplanted Canadian. And I presented to the city council last month about how I can't serve on commissions because I'm a Canadian citizen and I don't have a voter registration ID. So there's nothing that can be done about that until they change the charter, which they will do in, I think, in 2 years. We have a business in town, the Three-Legged Goat. My wife's been a resident since the mid-90s. I've been here for 11 years. So I can't actually be on the commission, but I talked, our partner Jim McDonald and I've talked with Shane about just being a volunteer. And that's what I was hoping to do, is just volunteer until they change the commission. Because I live here, I pay taxes here, I support the community, I'm on several nonprofit boards, and I just want to contribute to the community. So hopefully you will let me just volunteer and be part of the board. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Next is approval of minutes. Everyone should have a paper copy. This will be interesting if we have enough people on. 1, 2, 3. Okay, they can still vote. Okay, so even if you weren't here last time, you could still vote on the legitimacy of these minutes, which would be super appreciated, so we can enter them into the system.
I'll set a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Does everyone, the ayes? Everyone agree?
I can't vote.
Right? Actually, you can because we don't have enough today.
Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you, that answered that question.
There you go.
As an alternate, okay. So aye.
Any nays? Okay. Motion passed. We are going to rearrange a little bit our order. We've got some artists here tonight, so we are going to get to their portion quickly, and then we'll double back. So Aaron's gonna get us started. You gonna control, or you want me to do it?
Good evening. We are very excited about bringing this item forward to you tonight for the Brook Hollow Trail Underpass. The title of the mural is Train of Thought. The design process has been, I'll admit, a labor of love. It's been a few months. We started in September, I believe. But we thought it was worth it to really delve into this concept that we'll be presenting to you tonight. We think it's an awesome location for this particular concept. It's kind of one of those concepts where it probably wouldn't work anywhere else.
What do you gotta stop talking?
It's already started. It's like 5 minutes into the meeting. So it's the perfect location for this particular art concept, and it also supports our Trail Capital of Texas designation by enhancing our trail system. We truly believe that this will become a destination within the city for everyone to enjoy once it's like fully completed out, the whole site as we envision. So, this is the location. It's just south of the Brook Hollow Elementary. It is one of the oldest trail segments. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And it functions as a safe route to school. However, I will say I have been there on the weekend. There's quite a bit of people that pass through that trail. They've been looking at me a little funny as I've been assessing the site. So there is essentially underneath the roadway, there's a tunnel, and there is 11 8x8 box culverts that make this underpass. It is approximately 90 feet in length, so it's extensive. And for this particular artwork, we intend to have it on one side. However, there is an opportunity to kind of come back and expand upon this concept within the ceiling as well as the other sidewall. So there is that opportunity there. This is a picture of the site prior to us starting any sort of site preparation. As you can see, we have had plenty of artists participate in artwork over the years. And yeah, I mean, I think I actually might have a picture of one that was removed recently in the past few months. And so this was the existing condition. We wanted to make sure that if we're investing in art and really trying to make this a destination site with additional improvements, we wanted to make sure that we first address some of the issues with the joints and waterproofing. So to date, what we have done is we worked with a contractor to remove any existing failing plaster or cement that was in the actual joints, and then we installed the hydraulic cement in the joints to make it more waterproof. This is what we thought would be the first line of defense. However, I've learned a new word, negative hydrostatic pressure. With it being subgrade and being on the interior or the opposite side of the source of the water, this is something where we need a specialized company to come in and help us. And so we have found a company to go in and essentially drill holes within all the joints and where the hydraulic cement is, and install, or I guess inject, urethane, a material that reacts to moisture and water to help waterproof it from the positive side of the structure. And that will combat the negative hydrostatic pressure. I really tried hard to explain this very complicated thing. I had to look at a graphic too when I first encountered this situation. So, and also, there's only 2 lights in the tunnel right now. If y'all have ever walked this site, it's pretty dark. And so we actually are working with a contractor to install programmable lighting. That's right, colorful programmable lighting. We're really excited. No glitter available, but if that was available, that would be awesome.
What's the exact, I couldn't see, is it on railroad? I couldn't see the map. What's the exact,
under
is there an
railroad.
address? Is you have
Yeah, so it's, actually I have some other pictures maybe.
Brook Hollow Elementary.
Yeah.
Trying to think what cross street that's on.
There's no cross street really. It's
Okay. Yeah.
Cottonwood's closest, I guess, to one side.
Applewood.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what it looks like from Railroad if you're on the trail on the west side of the roadway. You see Brook Hollow in the distance. And so even the approach to the tunnel really kind of lends itself to this particular design concept. So this is what it looks like. This is on the west side of the road. This is, oh, excuse me, the other one was the east side, sorry. Directions. This is on the west side of the road, just south of Brook Hollow. So this is actually an opportunity zone for improvement as well. But generally, we have some fun, colorful lighting. The manufacturer gave us a photometric, so we estimate the highest level that we will receive is about 14 foot candles in that tunnel, and that's at the highest. So I think this will be adequate. And since it's programmable, I have checked the app. If it's too bright, we can dim it. So we shouldn't have this issue. This is just with the basic sort of white lighting. This is the fixture type that we're going with. And in terms of the mural budget, we have a budget of $45,000, and we are currently under contract with the artist where in September we had some funding available for parks beautification, and so we utilized that funding to do kind of like a two-part contract where one, there was a design phase and then there was an installation phase contingent upon Parks and Recreation Commission approval. We did built in some flexibility in the design phase so that if you wanted us to explore a different concept, we had some wiggle room to do so.
And for the new folks serving, the representative body of the area that the art is applied to is the group that votes. So downtown, for example, wouldn't be y'all's responsibility, but anything in the park system itself is why it comes to y'all.
Yeah. So parks, trails, and recreation center. And we are also trying to assess kind of the additional expenses with site preparation. I'll kind of show you some of the additional items that we're considering towards the end of the conversation after we show the design concept. Another thing that I'd like to kind of point out is we plan to program this particular mural or kind of do an unveiling of sorts where you'll find that the concept includes a lot of hidden idioms and references. And so it's essentially going to be a scavenger hunt competition with whoever can identify the most in the tunnel, get some sort of prize or award. After the initial unveiling, I think what we'll do is we'll just have a QR code on sign where it allows people to kind of just interact with the art on a more informal, kind of passive way. So, with that, if you see any idioms and references, you may not want to shout them out, but if you do need some assistance in trying to identify, I do have a list of all the references in here. So if there's a point when in the presentation with the artist that you're like, I need some help, I have the list for you. It really just depends on, I do, and it really just depends on if you like surprises and really want to figure out that Rubik's Cube on your own and don't look up
Aaron,
the mathematical.
I'd like one right now.
Okay. Here you go.
I can hide it from myself. I've already seen the
So
art.
without further ado, I would love to welcome the artist to come forward and kind of present the concept.
Hello, I'm Topher,
Hi,
I'm Sarah,
and we're the artist couple.
and this is our
I'm Joy. I'm
yes,
the assistant.
the newest member of the team this year, Joy.
So yeah, Aaron came to us last year and was like, hey, I think this spot would be a perfect place for a mural, beautification, and also graffiti mitigation, because there was a lot of graffiti and being covered up on that site. So did a bunch of brainstorming, and this is the concept that we came up with, the train of thoughts. It's an entire train that's filled with different idioms from the English and Spanish cultures that are all interacting with each other as they ride this train through a little fantasy landscape. I think it's really cool because I've never seen a concept like this in the 18 years that I've been doing art. So this is something very unique, being like the the trail capital of Texas, I think this would be a really nice thing to have. It's also very interactive and educational for the kids. You know, you can always find something new every day because there's over 100 different idioms. Some are very on the nose and easy. Others, I think it's going to take people a very long time to figure it out. But yeah, I think it's just going to leave, you know, a lasting impact, foster some fun, friendly competition, and just be a beautiful part of the city.
Great. So what I can do, since this is 90 feet in length, I actually had to separate it into multiple slides and we can kind of go through it. You just let me know if I need to switch back between slides so you can kind of try to find the idioms yourself and references.
I don't know if we really hammered it home, but we've already worked with the artist couple once at the other underpass at 685 and
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the fish
fish
bill.
bill.
Yeah, the Fishville one.
Yeah.
so they've been here
My
before for the
children,
ones that have been here before.
And
the railroad.
we've enjoyed that.
Yeah.
that's right.
Good job.
Really nice. Yeah, it's
Yes.
awesome.
We've received so many compliments, and everyone that walked by while we were working were just so nice and so happy we were doing something with it. And
Well, it looks
was
great.
great.
It's
thank
very
you.
nice.
It definitely has sustained a couple floods.
Yeah.
'Cause I heard floods all the time. So yeah, that anti-graffiti coating and that extra, I guess UV protectant,
Sealant, yeah.
sealant.
Yeah.
Well, the prep is key too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, spending all that extra time scrubbing the walls down and using the right primers and
Yeah.
stuff goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I do a shout out?
Sure.
I'm president of Pflugerville Arts Council, and we curated and produced a show that's at the library right now, and their art is up as well.
Yeah.
It's not a mural, it's individual pieces, and it's really nice. It's a different perspective, but yeah, I know.
Very cool.
And I met the Max and like them very
Yeah,
much.
we're both formerly trained fine artists. Well, and so is Joy. That's where we met. We also do that on the side.
Very cool. I'll go ahead and flip through the slides. This is the overall. It's really hard to see, so I'm just going to go
Yeah.
ahead and go to the beginning.
What were the dimensions of each? Did you already?
8 by 8.
So it's the box culverts are 8 by 8, but
8 by 8,
it's 8 feet high and 90 feet in length. The full
But
mural.
each individual picture is it all
Oh,
one,
so
or
this
is
right
it
here
separated
is
out?
8 by 16.
Got it. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Scenario or something. That's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot going on. It's kind of one of those things where you're going to want to come back, and every time you come back, you're going to see a new thing for, I don't even know how long, for your whole life, probably. Because even, I mean, we designed it, and I feel like I'm constantly seeing new things. So, yeah, I don't know how much time you want for each one, but we had so much fun. It's almost reminiscent of like a I Spy or a Where's Waldo. And I feel like a lot of people will be able to relate to the references, and there's some little nostalgic pieces in there hidden. And so I think it'll bring a lot of good discussion about language and culture, pop culture. And it'll be a fun little friendly competition, as well as just a really cool thing to see. And I think the scale of it being 90 feet and fitting so many fun things is just going to be so different from any other mural out there, any other mural I've ever seen. And I think it's the perfect place. It's right by the elementary school, so you have a lot of learning and education, and you'll be able to do a lot of discussion with language, so.
Yeah, we were amazed at how many people didn't know what an idiom was when we were working on this. They're like, oh, you know, all of our friends and stuff, like, what are you guys working on? We're like, oh, it's this idiom concept. And they're like, what's an idiom? So I thought that
You'll
was
have
very
to put that
interesting.
definition up at the beginning.
Well, we got the other side. It's just sitting there. Just graffiti.
I think it's cool because we took idioms from all different generations. So there's very old ones, as well as recent ones that younger generation is going to be able to interact with. So parents and children on their way to and from school will both be able to engage. The color palette is also, it's very bright, vibrant, and uplifting without being overly obnoxious, which is again, I think it'll be very stimulating for kids as well as parents. But it won't be, gaudy or obnoxious or anything like that. So
Stimulating in all the right way.
yes.
It's a very dark culvert, so
Yeah.
it's really exciting.
Yeah.
I run it a lot. It's not a pleasant experience.
Not right now.
I
Not
actually
right now.
might purposely run in the culvert once this is up to run by it.
It feels
Just
a
keep
little
running
creepy.
back and forth and just
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
I run by the other mural a lot too. I love running by that.
Oh yeah, so then digital rendering of what it would look like. And keep in mind that if this goes through and everybody loves it, it is the inside of a train car, so we could make this a fully immersive, three-dimensional thing that goes under the ceiling and wraps around to the other side as well.
So I probably forgot to mention that earlier when I said that this was the perfect location for this particular concept, is that this is along the old railroad train tracks, and so it's kind of a nod
Nice.
to the past as well. And the whole approach into the tunnel, it kind of gives you that subway vibe.
Totally.
So that's kind of where the initial kind of sort of concept evolved.
Are you interested in adding augmented reality to it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, my major's in photography and I do a lot of video and stuff, and I've got some VR cameras, and one thing I've really been interested in is like AR and XR, and can't wait for like all the new headsets to come out, so that's definitely something I would be interested in.
Yeah,
playing
well,
with.
you've seen what's going on at the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk. Yep.
Yeah.
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 It's very cool.
So, would y'all like a list just to kind of take a gander, or you want to keep the secret?
guess.
Okay. All right. Cool. I love that. I
I'll
love
tell
that.
you if you're right or not.
So, as you can tell, we for this particular rendering, we don't show any sort of site improvements, or at least painting at least the ceiling and the other wall. But that is something that we are going to consider just in the interim, because we want it to be a more pleasant experience. Because whoever is taking pictures down there, I think that it would be important for us to go ahead at least paint the ceiling and the other side. So that is one thing that we are exploring. That's kind of just the general sort of concept. We were going to take that purple gray and just kind of wrap it all the way around as kind of like a base coat.
And would that also have the graffiti?
It will not.
Okay.
But we do
those
have the
artists
paint
come
swab
back in.
where we can then go in and paint over. The reason why we would refrain from putting the anti-graffiti coating is
It's
because
challenging to go back.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to go back, and if we are going to do a second phase within the near term, it would make it more challenging to re-prep the site and more costs. But we will have the paint swab, so we will be able to then, if we do have graffiti, we'll be able to use that same color. And at subgrades, we're not going to have any sort of UV issues with trying to
Would
match
there
the paint.
be any benefit once you've done some sort of primer or whatever you're putting on this other side to use it for now to say what the mural is? And I mean, if it's going to get written on and over eventually, not putting the time and effort you put into the left side, but what an idiom is, how many idioms there are, see if you can find them, some
If
sort
it-
of script like that. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah, or
mind
even
it.
Just
paint the
interim?
QR code on there and,
Yeah.
have kind of a little blurb about like
I mean,
what's
for
going
now, I
on.
might as well use it. While,
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
it's
And that
not
would
being
deter
used.
graffiti too, because usually people doing graffiti are pretty respectful most of the time for when there's already some art there, so.
And you could put the augmented reality, the Art of Vive, and the information about that as well. That would be
Yeah,
cool.
that
Can
would
I
be a good
explain what that is, if nobody knows what that is, what the AR is? So, if you took a picture of that on your phone and uploaded it to the software, and you created a reel and uploaded to that software, then when you hold your phone up to that, the reel starts playing. And so there's some pieces that they're at the library right now that demonstrate that, but that would be totally cool. Because you could change the video every month if you wanted to.
Yeah, we could do a time lapse of like it being created or,
exactly.
something like that. That would be
Or what an idiom is in slow motion.
What's the timeline, I guess?
I I can actually provide that in terms of installation.
Yeah.
So we have a couple contractors lined up to do some of the site preps. We have the waterproofer coming in probably in February. And then with the lighting is anticipated for March. And so we anticipate an April installation, which hopefully is good weather.
Yeah.
I think
Fingers
Yeah.
crossed.
It's
long
not
as it's
summer.
not
it's
down
not-
for it.
God, there's like a small window apparently in Texas to paint murals. But yeah, so the right as you approach the tunnel too, there's some opportunities to kind of play on the all aboard thing or train of thought. So there's definitely. This has a lot of opportunity beyond what we just are showing tonight, so we're really excited about it. One thing that I do want to mention is if the commission approves the concept tonight, we do ask for some administrative purview over some adjustments that may need to be made in the installation process where we're installing lighting. We may need to shift things a little bit. But it should be minor in nature. If there are any additional fun references that are included in addition to what is shown, they'll also be minor. But we don't plan for much adjustment.
Yeah, we've already put in most of the
Yeah, it's
legwork as far as the design goes.
Yeah, and the lighting should be okay. We just have to kind of wait and see exactly how big everything is and if it
Yeah.
blocks anything.
Yeah, and just to go off what Aaron was saying, there's always site-specific things that you run into where, you know, maybe a character's head is being cut in half by an electrical box or something, and it's just moving it a couple of inches, just so it makes more sense is the kind of adjustments, yeah, that would be doing. Nothing major or changing.
How did you come up with the
characters.
idea? How did you come up with the idea?
Okay, well, we were brainstorming with staff and Aaron, and we all kind of were thinking and just love the idea of like learning and education and language and like references and nostalgia and like I said, the I Spy kind of a game, and just kind of brainstormed, and idioms were brought up, and just thought how fun
Yeah,
would
kinda,
that be?
It kind of snowballed, and
Yeah, like
we all got
organically.
sketching and just kind of picked the best ideas out of everybody's sketches and
Lists.
concepts and lists and
Yeah.
stuff, and put this all together.
We had a really fun time coming up with the list.
Yeah,
Like
that's
really,
good.
like every single time I hear an idiom now, I'm like, oh my gosh, add to the list.
This is like
Never watch
Mad
TV
Magazine.
differently.
You remember Mad Magazine? You could always
Yeah.
find something in the border.
Yes.
Very cool. Good job.
Well, this is a discuss and consider item, so y'all have time right now to continue discussing with our guest here, the artist. If you want, you can call for a motion and have more discussion just with everyone here on the board, or you can vote to approve.
I have one quick question. I saw that in the background there was the Trail Texas board, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trail Capital Texas. And is there, I was curious, is there like the water tower, any other kind of like parts of Pflugerville, like that you're
Saw a
looking out the
window.
window and you're seeing Pflugerville stuff?
No, but that is a great adjustment we can
There-
make.
Just a thought. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder if in the other ones I missed like
The window
other
could
kind
just
of
be the
like
water tower.
landmark type things from Pflugerville, and it would
Right.
be kind of cool if.
There, you could make that the
Absolutely.
Green Red
The water
Barn and the
tower
water
was
tower.
there.
or, you know, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good
I like
idea.
that.
So there's a commission piece in downtown Pflugerville in the, I can't remember what the park between Hanover's and the city building.
Best little
Little
plaza in
square.
Thank
Texas.
you. All the way back. I commissioned a piece that's all the way back, and it's got iconic places in Pflugerville. You're welcome to pick and choose from that too.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's got
Nice.
some buildings, got the water tower, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So we can definitely work with the artists in including additional
Yeah.
Pflugerville iconic sites within
Yeah.
the background. It's a great idea.
And then the only other comment I had is if there's a QR code or if there's something on the other side, it would be kind of, because we're talking about like writing, like what is an idiom, just, and it'd be kind of cool because you just mentioned that that's where the railroad used to be. I would make sure that either QR code or that wall really notes and kind of talks about that history, because I think that's
history.
like, that makes this art piece even more intentional and really,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
Super, super cool. I'm excited.
It is. It's not like any other mural around, you know?
It's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
You got a motion?
Yeah.
I will motion to approve the Train of Thoughts mural concept.
I second the motion.
Any further discussion before we vote? Okay. If you're in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, say nay. Any abstaining? Okay, it's passed. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
We're so excited. Can't wait.
Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten like 5 so far. I got like 95 to go.
Only 95.
I don't know if I can get the Spanish ones.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get the cozones up.
It is cool though.
Now we're gonna have Trista come up.
We had our fun. Now we're going to talk about rules.
That's right.
Oh, boy.
That's right.
Getting serious.
How you wanna do this? You want me to just? Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Trista. I'm the city secretary. What I will be reviewing is going to be a review for about half of you, new information for the other half, good information for a reminder for everybody, no matter what level you are at. So we're going to start with some general, just City of Pflugerville information. We're a home rule city with a council manager form of government. Home rule city means that we have a city charter. So think about the layers of government. We have federal, state, county, and then the city. So the city charter is what rules the city that the state or federal don't touch. We're not ever going to be in competition with them. It's just added layers. The charter is approved by the voters, all of you. It's not approved by city council. It all goes to vote. Any changes or amendments have to go through the election process. Council manager form of government, think CEO and a board. The council sets policies and sets direction. The city manager makes that happen. So why are you all here? So the city council can establish any board it wants for whatever purpose it deems fit. So this really helps make sure that you all are involved in what you're passionate about. It helps council because you get to take some first look at things. You get to help focus on one specific area so that they can focus on the rest and then get your recommendations and all that kind of stuff. All of the authority function is set up either through that document that first created the board, which will either be charter, ordinance, or resolution, and then sometimes additional documentation will be made within the board itself for specific processes that's going to be much more board specific. Your code of conduct, this is a resolution that council adopted. It's for the city council and also for boards and commissions, so everyone has to follow the same thing, so that we're all on the same page about what is considered correct. There's no question about any sort of difference of opinions. So I'm going to run through these pretty quickly. A lot of them are going to be pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have the resolution, let me know. I'll send it to you. It digs into each section to a little bit more detail. First and foremost, acting in the public interest. You are here for the city of Pflugerville, not for yourself, not for a single thing that you care about. That may be what brought you here, but now that you're on the commission, everything Parks and Rec related is why you're here. Comply with the law. Conduct of members, show up on time as much as you can. If you can't, let Shane know, right? Just kind of keep in contact with us, participate. Respect for the process is really the process that each board has with staff of how each board manages any sort of requests or correspondence. Adhere to that. If you have a recommendation, we're happy to hear it, but keep in mind this process, it's probably for a reason, we can have that discussion. Use of electronics, I think you got that. Conduct business in the open, I'll dig into a lot more here in a minute. Decisions based on merit and share relevant information kind of fall in line, right? When any time you have to take action, take action based on the merit of whatever's put in front of you, not your personal feelings about it. And then if you're receiving relevant information about a topic that isn't coming directly to the board, make sure to share it, whether that's speaking up in this discussion to say, I have this information from somewhere, whoever it is, or share it with Shane and he can share it with the board. Don't share it with the whole board by email outside of a meeting. Conduct of public meetings, that's your general, just show up, pay attention. If you need to step out for a phone call or something, that's absolutely fine, of course. We all have lives outside of this. Conflicts of interest, so I'm gonna be quiet for 10 seconds and let you read this. This is a very specific, if you believe you have a conflict of interest, you can come talk to me and I will ask you these questions and you will say yes or no. I cannot tell you if you have a conflict of interest. I cannot confirm or deny. I can just ask you these questions because it's your personal conflict of interest, and anything would come to you personally. So keep that in mind. If you think you might have a conflict of interest, it's going to be mostly financially based. So just knowing somebody doesn't necessarily constitute a conflict of interest, but if you are an investor in a business, that might be something to talk about. If you do have a conflict of interest, there is a specific form you have to fill out with me. When that item comes up on the agenda, you'll just basically state, I have a conflict of interest, step out. You cannot participate in discussion or vote on that item. You can be present, but you'll have to step away from the tables so that there's not even a question of whether or not you've been involved. Gifts and favors, the general rule is don't receive gifts that are worth over $50. The real rule is even if you're receiving a candy bar from someone and you think that it's because they want something from you, just say no thank you. It doesn't matter the value, it matters the intent, so keep that in mind. Confidential information is confidential. Please don't share it outside if you receive anything. This can sometimes even include personal email addresses are confidential. So if you're receiving documents that have someone's personal email address, keep it internal with, staff has it, so that will be okay, but don't share that outside of any sort of city staff. This advocacy section, I'm just gonna read it because if I try to summarize, I'm gonna mess it all up. So to represent the official policies or positions to the best of your ability when designated as delegates for this purpose. When presenting individual opinions and positions in any format, explicitly state they do not represent their body or the city of Pflugerville. So it's walking that line of private citizen and commissioner and figuring out where that line is. If you're speaking as commissioner, you are speaking on behalf of the entire commission, which means that if there was a vote, that's when something like that could happen, when the majority of the commission approves something, then you can talk about it. If it's your own personal opinion about it, you just have to make that very clear that you're not speaking on behalf of the Parks Commission. Let's see. Pretty straightforward on these. The policy role is just follow the rules, right? Follow those policies. They're there for a reason. Sometimes it's lawful. It's by law, by requirement. Sometimes it's by city policy. Either way, if you have a question about anything, come ask me. This independent section is more directed towards city council. It's to make sure that you all are an independent commission. At the end of the day, report to council, you're appointed by council, but council is not to come in here and start directing your actions or start telling you how to vote or what to vote for or what to bring. This is your commission. For personal political advocacy, this one needs to come into consideration when endorsing or opposing a ballot initiative or candidate. You need to do so as a private citizen, not as a representative of the Parks Commission. Social media is a fun one. It's again, walking that line that can sometimes be difficult. Be cautious if you are posting on social media as a representative. If you are saying, I, as the commissioner, am making this statement, that statement can then become government record. And so if if there's an open records request, or it kind of all snowballs down. So if you have questions about it, come talk to me. I'm happy to answer your questions kind of one-on-one. If you're just sharing information of things that are happening, that's totally fine, and we of course love it. That's how a lot of people find out about what we're doing. So a lot of people find out about these boards. So just be mindful if it's factual and just, hey, look at this really cool thing we're doing. Post away, enjoy it. News media, we have a phenomenal communications team. If the news comes to talk to you separately, we always ask for you to kind of redirect them to our comms department. They do this day in and day out. And it's another one, if you are asked to speak to somebody as the representative, just make that clear that you're doing that as a representative, or if you're talking to them individually, make that clear too. Any questions on code of conduct? Okay. Open Meetings Act. Every meeting of a board or commission or council must be done in accordance to the Open Meetings Act, which means it has to be public, it has to be open and transparent. There's this training that all of you have done or will do very shortly. It's a 1-hour video. I watch this every year or every 2 years because there's a lot of information in there, and it's always a good reminder. So what is a governmental body? The city has determined that every board and commission is considered a governmental body. If you dig into the state's definition, they start to get really kind of nitpicky about it. So really it's the spirit of it. And so kind of regardless of some of those nitpicky definitions, everyone is a governmental body for boards and commissions, which means everything is following the Open Meetings Act. I covered that already. So I use the word meeting a lot. Every meeting has to be done with the Open Meetings Act. So what is a meeting? Anytime a quorum of the body is present to discuss official business. No action has to be taken for it to be considered a meeting. There doesn't have to be any sort of, I've had a meeting before where it was just a single executive session. That's still an open meeting. You have to call it to order, go to executive session, come back and adjourn. So it doesn't matter the content. If it's a quorum, public business, it's a meeting. If it is a meeting, a notice has to be posted. These are our agendas. They have to be posted 72 hours in advance, and they have to be posted with all of the subjects that will be discussed to a level that someone who doesn't know what's going on knows what you're talking about. So, date, time, place, the only time that you can change that is in an emergency situation, if you need to change location because like if this room flooded and we had to go somewhere else, that could happen. Not that could happen, but then we could change location at that point. But if I post an agenda and I just have the wrong time on it, or I have put the wrong date on it, then that's when you're meeting, or we're canceling that meeting. If I post it 71 and a half hours in advance, that meeting is canceled. We cannot do it. If a meeting is held when it wasn't appropriately noticed, any action that was taken can be voided. And so you would have to just redo the meeting again. Tied into this notice of meetings for the transparency and the subjects that need to be included, the agenda item titles that's on your agenda, they have to be clear for what's going to be discussed. So for public comment, when someone comes to make a public comment, they can talk about anything they want, whether or not it's posted on the agenda. However, you can't. So if someone comes up to talk about something that isn't on the agenda, you listen, you can say thank you, and that's it. There can't be any discussion, there can't be any questions, there can't be any, if they ask a question, you can't even answer them. You can later, after, right, someone else can go step out, right, in council meetings, often staff will follow someone out if we have a quick answer. If there's public comment on an item that is on the agenda, then you're allowed to have a discussion at the commission's discretion. So they have 3 minutes to speak. If you want to continue to engage with them, the chair can help kind of determine that level of appropriateness. That's the only time where that discussion could happen. Another thing to be considered, I'm constantly working on getting all of our boards consistent and on the same page and kind of following the council sort of template. And so The item for future agenda items, we're going to be taking that out because that doesn't tell anybody anything. So if something needs to be going on a future agenda, talk to Shane. Talk to Shane separately, send Shane an email, he'll let you guys know the best way to do that. But to bring that up in a meeting, no one knows what that is, which means it's not the transparency that we want. Also, there's always the possibility of someone will bring up a topic and then you want to talk about it. But you can't because it's not on the agenda. So those are some of the considerations with Open Meetings Act. Open session is this. Anyone can walk in here and sit down and listen to us. Minutes are kept. Minutes are permanent retention. They are forever. Our video recording is 2-year retention. After 2 years, it's gone, which is why the minutes are there. A quorum has to stay present for the meeting to continue. So if the majority of you walked out right now, the meeting would end when the last person walked out the door. Even if you are barely making quorum and someone needs to step out for a break or a phone call, you would need to recess the meeting and wait until that person comes back to remake quorum. Executive session, luckily you all won't be dealing with hopefully any executive sessions. This is the only exception to conducting a meeting in open session. There's very specific topics and items that can be conducted in a closed session behind closed doors. These are, I think, fairly straightforward, right? Anytime you need to talk to your attorney or talk about purchase of property, that stuff can happen behind closed doors, but any action still has to come out into the open for that action. So they can discuss back in the back room, but if they need to approve something, they have to come out and approve it in public. What is not a meeting? Social functions that are not related to public business. So if you all find yourself at a city event, which I hope you do, that's not a meeting. However, if a quorum of you find yourself hanging out, don't talk about the commission, which because of your commission, that might be a little harder if you're in like a city event kind of place, so keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned quorum. What is a quorum in this?
So it's a majority of the members. So you all have 7 members, so it'll be 4 people.
Okay.
Great question. So if you are at a training together or an event, right, you're not breaking quorum as long as you don't start actively discussing parks business. If you find that you do, I will always ask, there's got to be one person who says, I can count to 4, I'm going to go over here to this other group. It's also very easy after meetings to have the after meeting. You can't. Have all that discussion here in the meeting. Once that adjourn happens, splinter off however you need to. If you're just talking about whatever life or, the walk that you took the other day or whatever it is, that's fine. It is easy to, of course, fall into what you all know, which will be the commission. Any questions about open meetings?
I do have a question.
Yes.
You said how many? I got this list off the website that we have 8 members, so somebody's missing.
So
Yeah,
it's
2 people
8.
are missing.
It's 8 with you, 8 with an alternate.
Got it.
So-
Lisa and Stan are here today.
Okay. Thank you.
Quick question, when the foundation is established, that wouldn't be subject to Open Meetings Act, correct? Because it's not an official government body, it's a foundation.
Well, you wouldn't be meeting for the purpose of Parks and Rec items, I imagine, but it depends if, normally when you see a foundation like that established, you'll see 1 or 2 members from one board serve on the other, but that's why you wouldn't see more than that. Like PCDC has a couple of council members serve, and they have that in other capacities.
But you couldn't
then
have 4 because then that technically would be considered a Parks and Rec Commission meeting.
if you were talking about anything Parks and Rec related, it would be,
Well, if it's a Parks Foundation.
yeah.
I'm just asking for the Parks
Yeah.
Foundation, so, yeah, okay, cool, that's good to know, and then, you mentioned discussion on public comment, if they make a comment on an item that's on an agenda, the discussion can only happen directly after that public comment, not during the discussion of that agenda,
No.
or is it the opposite?
So so the public comment can occur whenever my direct reference is council meetings. That's what I know. So we have a public comment section, and so in that public comment section, anyone can come talk about anything. So we also have, if people want to talk about a specific item, the mayor kind of chooses based on the agenda setup, based on the timing. He'll invite someone to come up to talk about, if they want to talk on a specific item, it's going to depend on where that item is in the agenda. That person can hold until that item is open to give their public comment. So it depends on what makes sense. Sometimes what will make sense is opening an item early, of saying someone's here to talk about item 5C, let's go ahead and open that, have that person talk, and then the commission can do whatever they need to do with that item. That way too, you know the person who is coming because they care about that item is present and can see the discussion and see the voting result.
So they end up leaving a comment at the beginning, and the agenda item doesn't happen right after that. We would wait until the agenda item to discuss the comment made on the public comment.
So they can hold their comment until you open that item.
Okay.
So they can, that public comment section is very specifically for literally anything on the agenda or not. So if someone's coming to talk about item 5C, what typically happens is it's kind of an offer of, do you want to give your comment now, or do you want to sit and wait for item 5C? And
Okay.
it can be up to them, because some people say, like, no, I don't have time to wait 45 minutes. I want to give my comment now, and then I'm going to go and I'll watch the video later. So it's really a little bit up to the chair, a little bit up to the public, right? It's what feels right for the agenda.
Okay, cool.
Okay, talk about Public Information Act pretty briefly. This is stating that all records created for government business is public record, public in quotes because it depends what's on it. The assumption of the Public Information Act is that all records are public, and there may be exceptions why they aren't. So we're always starting at the point of, you are allowed to see this. So the act is specifically triggered when someone submits an open records request. They can ask for whatever they want, literally anything, it doesn't matter as long as it's in writing. They can write it on a cocktail napkin, they can hand it on a torn piece of paper, as long as it gets into my hands, it counts. So anything that is city business related is potentially government record. We have, see my order real quick. Okay, so no matter where the information is, no matter the format, it's potentially government record. So if I have something on my phone that's not on my laptop, what's on my phone is government record. My phone is not government record though. It's literally just that specific item that is city business. So why this matters for you is because you are conducting city business. I'm gonna run through this. I'm gonna run past this because I'm not gonna worry about all of the things you need to think about. I'm gonna tell you what to do so you never have to think about it. Keep city staff copied. Keep someone on city staff, whoever your person is for whatever it is, keep city staff copied. Then anything you do is already in our system, and I will never have to come talk to you if we get an open records request. Sometimes we will get, I want, every correspondence about a specific item on a board agenda. If all that correspondence happened on email with city staff, we can pull that from our system just fine. If you receive any documents from city staff already has it. We don't have to worry about it. So things to avoid will be emailing someone about city business without staff copied, texting city business. Texts are also potentially government record if they're city business related. Now, if you are texting, I'm 5 minutes late, that's fine. That doesn't matter. But if you start actively having a conversation with someone else over text, that is potentially city business. So city staff uses Teams. I very regularly remind people, please don't text business, Teams business. It's the same thing, it all comes to the same place. If you find yourself texting someone or someone has texted you, redirect to email and copy city staff, and I'll never have to talk to you. If that does happen, and you do have something that's on your personal device, I will come to each of you with an open records request and say, here's what's been requested. Do you have anything that's responsive? If you do, I will either need files forwarded to me or screenshots of messages, or if you don't have anything, there'll be a form that you'll sign that says, I reviewed, I don't have anything. which is you keep city staff copied. You don't have to think about it. You can just sign that form that says, I don't have anything. Now, we have a retention schedule through Texas State Library and Archives. TSLAC is the usual abbreviation for it. So this determines how long to keep government records. This determines kind of what we really need to be paying attention to and what we don't, and what can just be tossed. So, for example, draft documents, we don't have to keep them. Your individual notes, if it's just notes for yourself on here, you don't have to keep them. If it starts falling into you're actively writing out plans for something, then that becomes an important document that we need to keep. If you're ever not sure, come ask me. This is my favorite part of my job. I could sit and talk to you for hours about records, but it's not going to be very fun for you. In general, I just say this to say email is not a record series. It's all about content and attachments, and so just be mindful. But again, keep city staff copied. This is my contact information. Ashley is my deputy city secretary. She can answer all the same questions that I can, and will do so happily as well. We are here for you when it comes to sort of questions about the topics I've just covered. Questions about parks, you're gonna have to talk to Shane. Say they're pretty and I like to walk in them. We'll talk to Shane for specifics. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Just to thank you. Who says governance isn't fun?
It's so fun.
For everyone
just
that stayed in the
just
room,
one-
even the ones on the wall, we're gonna take a 5-minute break or recess.
Can we hold on
Oh,
just one
sure.
second? You gotta-
I had a social media question.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So I am a content creator.
Okay.
And sorry, I make content for restaurants and that kind of stuff. Would that?
That's fine.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know how to
not worried about that at all.
question
Yeah, not worried about that at all.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We'll take a 10-minute recess to go to the restroom, let everyone on the sidewalls have a chance to break. Anyone that's still here and made it through that, I'm going to give everyone a shirt. So everyone So next up is our director's report. I thought this would be a good time to get to know everybody, because not everyone knows everybody. So I just thought we'd go around the room and just say your name. We'll have the employees do it too. So if you're an employee, how long you've been an employee, if you're a resident, obviously how long you've been a resident, what do you do? Outside of this, for the employees, they can say what they do in the department, or in the agency, I guess, because we have Desmond here, and he is not in our department. And so, and then what you're looking forward to in 2024. So I can go first. Shade my eyes. Director of Parks and Rec. Have been a Pflugerville resident and an employee for 4.5 years. I'm the Parks and Rec director, and I'm looking forward to really working off the rest of our playground replacements. I think we can get our average playground age down to a level that very few other departments in the state have. So excited about that opportunity. Be a lot of hard work, but we've got a plan for it. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and then I'll let Erin go next.
All right, I'm Erin Sellers. I am an innovation strategist for the city of Pflugerville. You might be asking, what is that?
I'm asking.
Yeah, it's a great question, right? I ask that same question to myself every day. But the way I like to summarize it is that I am a long-range city planner with maybe a
And that's your
splash. Yes, that is my background. And maybe a splash of unicorn, just a little dash, right? The unicorn portion is probably just more of cultural planning with public art. And so I've been an employee of the city of Pflugerville for 16 and a half years. Started out in planning and development services for 15. And definitely looking forward to more art along the trails in 2024.
Sweet.
Which is like the next item.
There we go. After my director's report. Junior?
Cool. Yeah, Junior Rodriguez.
Oh, you gotta step up.
Oh, sorry.
You're gonna make
Junior
Nathan help.
Rodriguez. I'm the park superintendent. I have been a resident of Pflugerville for 14 years, and I've been an employee for 15 and a half years. Like I said, park superintendent, so all of the maintenance of the parks and trails are under my purview. We have great staff, and what I'm looking forward to in 2024 is that continued support from you guys to provide quality parks and trails. So, yeah.
Sweet. Jonathan?
I'm Jonathan Hansen. I'm the rec superintendent. I've been with the city for 11 months. I'm a resident of Georgetown. Sorry. So the rec superintendent is in charge of the recreation branch. So that's the facilities and aquatics, the business operations, which is all of our rentals and field allocations, and then all of our recreation programs and our special events. And what I'm looking forward to most in 2024 is, as you probably all know, when you start a job, everyone says, it takes a year. I'm about to hit my year, so I'm excited to start improving things in my next year.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Cool. Ray?
Yeah, my name is Ray Trevino. I've been a resident this time around for almost 3 years. Before that, I was a resident from 1984 to 2005. I moved away for a little bit, came back, can't get Pflugerville out of my system, so I like Pflugerville. And I was I'm a master electrician by trade, a construction coordinator with Samsung and Motorola. I was Motorola 20 years, Samsung 10 years. And I kind of retired now, but I'm an Uber driver for my 10-year-old. So I take him to school, pick him up in the afternoon, so that's my job right now, just getting him to and from school, and to art lessons. He does art. Swimming lessons, karate, so all these after-school things that I do. And what I'm looking forward to in 2024 is being part of this team. I'm really looking forward to trying to get involved with as many committees or as much as I can do to help Pflugerville.
Awesome.
As a whole.
Thanks, Ray. Melissa?
Melissa Call. I've been a resident of, I'm a native Texan. I've been a resident of Pflugerville since 1989, raised my children here, and, excuse me, worked for the Chamber of Commerce, executive assistant for 10 years, and got to know a whole lot of people in Pflugerville, old guard, new guard, et cetera, et cetera. And, excuse me, have been on the Deutschen Fest committee in the entertainment section 2015, maybe, something like that, can't remember. however long Amy's been around here too.
Yeah.
What's the next? Oh, I'm retired, so that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, my husband is a handyman, so we're gonna talk, because he needs electricians. And so, for instance, today, we took out 3 fence posts. I got on the ground and dug up concrete for hours until I got here, and so I do all his bookkeeping, his marketing, and all that kind of stuff. Thrilled to have art in public places. I'm president of Pflugerville Arts Council. I've done 35 classical concerts over the past 7 years at First United Methodist. Had the art show that's going on right now is the 4th art show that I've curated. We're getting into theater, and we're looking for event venues, and I could talk all night long on that, so.
Thank you.
Move to the next one.
Nathan's to be seen and not heard, but there he is over there, helping us with our behind the scenes type stuff and all of our video stuff. Desmond?
Desmond Wilder, work for the city of Pflugerville. I am with transportation and CIP in engineering, but I am the parks project manager for CIP, transportation and engineering. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks. Elise?
Oh, me. Hello, I'm Elise Tatum. I have lived in Pflugerville since 2017. Before that, we were in Round Rock since 2013, originally from Arkansas. No plans on leaving. This is our place now. For my 9-to-5 job, I'm an outside plant engineer, and that is designing fiber and coax cable for telecommunication companies like Comcast and those kind of people. What I'm looking forward to for 2024 is more community involvement, and this is going to help me do that a lot.
Awesome.
I'm Amy Rabb. I have been a resident of Pflugerville since 2014. I've been on the commission. This is my 4th year. Yeah, I think so. And I'm a construction teacher at Hendrickson High School, and what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to
Summer break.
Yeah, pretty much. Looking forward to not having to do my certification for teaching so that I can actually come to these meetings again. Yeah, no, that, and then I'm looking forward to being involved with this committee and the rec center stuff and kind of everything we've got going on.
Cool. We learned a little bit about Woody already. We learned out where he works, how long he's been here, and what he wants to do this year. So I don't know if you have anything else to add. You're just...
Oh, my wife's been here. She's Canadian. She's been here since the mid-90s. Her kids all went to school here. I have an agenda that Parks and Rec might not like, but I think we need to build a hockey arena.
I second.
You used to have one just outside of town.
Yeah, I
remember downtown
Texas, and we had a hockey.
I should not have engaged you, Woody. Jennifer, you go, please.
I'm Jennifer Bridges. I moved to Pflugerville, I think in 2015. I was in Austin before that, since 2009. I work with chimpanzees. And I am mostly looking forward to, we have 3 subcommittees through this commission, and I'm very excited about all the awesome things we're going to do next year on all of those subcommittees. Yeah.
Can we back up to the chimpanzee?
Yeah, can we expand on that?
I work, I'm a behaviorist, but I do positive reinforcement training with them, socializations, different things. I work with chimpanzees that have been retired from research, so it's MD Anderson and Bastrop. And I've been doing it for like 18 years now. Yeah, cool. I originally started working with them in Arizona. They got moved here, so that's actually how I ended up in Texas. So
This is the perfect commission for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I do.
That's great.
I work with
That's so cool.
chimpanzees all day.
Oh, man, that's
Wow.
my intro is not that cool. I'm Chelsea Burkett. I've been in Pflugerville. We bought our house in 2020, so May of 2020, and I was in Austin before that. I moved to Austin for UT in 2014. I am a professional engineer by certification, but I work for a consulting company. We do program management, and we're working with Austin Independent School District, building schools in Austin. So super exciting work. Did 5 years of that. We just, Austin passed a $2.4 billion bond program, and we're managing $1 billion of that, of large school construction. So super cool and a lot of fun. What am I looking forward to? This commission, the foundation, and also I'm running the Austin Marathon. So looking forward to it, more of looking forward to my training ending because it's been a long 5 months. So looking forward to that.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Welcome, everyone. So what's Parks and Rec? It's a little like the show, I'll be honest. It really is. It's more than I'd like to admit sometimes. But really, we're 45 full-time, 18 part-time, and seasonally, we're over 100 staff. And we are here to provide quality of life and be good stewards of the property that we have for the Pflugerville community and the surrounding area. Organizational breakdown, director, you've met Jonathan and Junior. We don't have an assistant director right now. We're desperately trying, I promise. We're trying to find someone that wants to work with us. So hopefully we can have an update next month.
How much does it pay?
Right? Not enough. Not enough, obviously. Core functions, park ops and maintenance, rec programs, special events, facility management, rentals, permits, events, and field allocations, and parkland and trail system management. What we offer, we have over 1,600 acres of parks, green belts, and open space. We have over 56 miles of trail. We have over 33, well, right around 33 acres of ball fields, depending on what we count. We have 34 developed parks, 30 playgrounds, 28 of those now. So 27 or 28 are shaded?
27.
27 are shaded, which we're very proud of. We're working on trying to get 100% on that. We have rec center classes, programs, citywide special events, pavilion rentals, gazebo rentals. You have picnic tables, skate parks, 2 dog parks, 3 outdoor pools, 2 of which are heated, 2 splash pads, 180 acre reservoir that we use as a lot of recreational stuff, at least around it. Utilities mostly manages, they manage all the water quality. Sometimes we do some on water recreation, but most of our rec stuff is the trail and the areas around the lake. We do park improvements. We have a number of ways we do that. This is where we work a lot with Desmond and Larry, who y'all met from time to time that have been here previously. We do them through the general fund. We do them through parkland dedication and development, which I'll speak a little bit more about. Our capital improvement, which is going to ramp up next month. And then we have some alternative funding options with the bond programs, grants, PCDC, and I could have put et cetera, because there are definitely other options as well. Although that's the majority. Committees we serve, we obviously serve this commission. We work with the Deutschenfest Steering Committee. We work with bond and other steering committees. For example, that rec center steering committee, when we did the new rec center, we worked with that citizen steering committee as well. And then we work with the subcommittee that is from council. So the two council members that are on the special event subcommittee, which is Councilmember Holliday and the mayor currently. In the last year, we've won awards and had some grants. Department Conservation Award for the Central Texas Regions, the Marketing Award as well. Promotions and marketing at the state level. You can see that's the most interesting man in the world actor. We used him for a cameo for some of our marketing of our parks plan. And he almost gave our city comms team a heart attack because you can see a cigar that his freshly lit and was using as he was talking about quality of life in the parks. But it was a great cameo. We had a lot of engagement off that. We also had Perd Hapley, who's from the show Parks and Rec. One of the anchor characters did something as well. So we had some really cool engagement and won some awards for the creativity of that. We had 2 awards of excellence from TAMIO, which is the, I always get this wrong, Texas area. It's the comms team. It's the people that give out information at state level for the communications team. For a marketing plan for a city of our size and best use of social media. We also had the TxDOT and Keep Texas Beautiful Governor's Community Achievement Award, which below you can see that that award at the state level also got us granted $270,000 in Keep Texas Beautiful, a Keep Texas Beautiful project in a right of way of Pflugerville. Well, we recently received a game time matching grant, which we used for Gillen Creek Park. It was right at $80,000 to $100,000, which allowed us to use the funding that we would have dedicated for that purchase to put in extra play equipment, shade, and hardscaping. So the new Gillen Creek playground is going to be, it's going to be great. It's going to be another addition to that park, and that park's seen a complete redo as well. And then PCDC gave us $100,000 for 2 shade structures, Pflugerville Heights, which is going in right now, and then Black Locust, which will follow. We just recently worked on a master plan. Our last master plan had been in 2013, so industry standards is try to do those every 10 years. We were a little outside of that by the time we accomplished this one, but we got it approved at City Council. No, it wasn't 2013, it was 2011. Yeah, we were a couple years behind. But we had over 30,000 touch points from the public. The executive summary has been provided for y'all today for the folks that weren't here. It also has my business card and my cell phone on it if you ever need to get a hold of me. And as soon as we get an assistant director, we're going to do an 18-month rollout that'll help guide our next 10 years. That's a 10-year guiding document. We want to focus on what the first 18 months will look like, and the assistant director is over a lot of that function. The planning, parkland dedication, development, some of those types of improvements, that's what we're going to see. From that master plan, we saw that we had more trails per capita than anybody else in the state. And so we pursued the Trail Capital of Texas designation. We now have that. We're working to trademark that, and that's something that no other city's gonna be able to take from us. We are the Trail Capital of Texas, and we're working with our lawyers right now to paper all that up. Once we do, we'll have that for 10 years, and we'll just have to re-up. So that's exciting. We're out of the legislative cycle, and you have to be in the legislative cycle for some of those announcements. So we're working with our legal team trying to paper stuff up, and then once some of these legislative cycles go back into session, we hope to accelerate that a little bit. Some of the benchmarking that you saw that we did from the master plan, you can see Pflugerville, we had a population projection about 75,000. Really, it's a little under that still. We had 56 miles of trail, and what that gave us is if you use the quality of life component of 1 mile of trail for every 2,000 residents, that's the quality of life standard, is 1. You can see us at 1.49. So we're 1.5 times that standard right now. If you look at the benchmarking cities in the area, Round Rock's only at 0.33, Cedar Park's at 0.60, Allen is above 1 as well, and really close to us. So we're going to start buying property from them pretty soon and take over the trails away. But you can see how we scored with all the other benchmarking cities. No one else is even at 1. So our trails, as everyone here knows, is vast compared to any city that you can even think of. And to make sure of that, we even compared to the larger cities in Texas, Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. You can see how they score. And we even did those popular DFW cities that everyone loves to compare us to. So you can see how we score Frisco, McKinney, and Plano. None of them touch us with trails. So they may have more miles than trails, sure, for example, Plano, but they have, 4.5, 5 times the population as well. And so when you look at that, how many miles of trail for every 2,000 residents, no one touches us in the state, which is what led to the Trail Capital of Texas designation. Also, something very important, as we continue to grow, we're benchmarking how we grow versus those other cities as well. And so there's a mayor's initiative through the National Parks and Rec Association. The goal of all of us in this industry is to have 100% of our population within what we would say a 10-minute walk to a park. That would be ideal, right? Wouldn't that be a great world where no matter where you lived, you could walk to a park in 10 minutes? It's one of those things that not every city, obviously, not a lot of cities have done that. There are very few cities at 100%. I think it's Seattle and Boston. Portland's at like 99%, and San Francisco's at 98%. There are very few cities in Texas at that number. We're one of the highest in the state. You can see we started out in 78 in 2021, and we've grown every year. And what's important to me is that we're growing with growth. As more development comes in, what y'all play an essential role in this number. Y'all should be very proud of that number because as parkland dedication comes through y'all, what that is that's 250, 400 homes coming in and y'all holding their feet to the fire and making sure you get the green space needed so that those folks still have the ability to walk to a park. That's the whole goal of that, right? And so you can see how we compare Round Rock and Cedar Park, and Allen, very comparative to those cities, and really above and beyond not only the rest of our benchmarking cities on the left, or those large Texas cities and the DFW cities in the middle that we've done those benchmarking, but we went ahead and started benchmarking against some other cities of comparable size on the right. We don't have 2022, which we got from the master plan of 2021, which I was working on when I first got here. We don't have that data, but you can even see just this year, our year to this year with those other cities. Denton, Southlake, Keller, Grapevine, some of these cities you hear people talk about with great affinity, and I'm sure they do a great job, but we have more trails than them, and we have more of our population within a 10-minute walk to a park to them. So anytime someone starts talking crap about us, you go ahead and remind them.
You're proud of us, aren't you?
I am,
You
for
should
sure.
be. You should be, yeah.
Main roles of the commission are to make recommendations on management, maintenance, and use of park and rec facilities, make recommendations on acquiring real property concerning parkland dedication development fees, which we talked about just a second ago, make recommendations on recreational programs and events, submit approval of a staff-led CIP, which we'll start working on next month, and then serve as also the Tree Care Advisory Board and host quarterly meetings. Oh, you gotta. Oh, and art. Yeah, sorry. Hold on. How do I edit? That would take me 3 days to get art in there. Parkland dedication. So what that is for the folks that haven't had a chance to really consider it yet, it's growth paying for growth, right? So when the simplest way I can explain it is there's a town of Shane, and it's one resident, and it's me. And Chelsea says, hey, I want to live in the town of Shane. That sounds great. And I've got 1 acre of land for myself. If she comes in and buys into the town of Shane, and I don't make her have parkland dedication, we now are splitting that acre, right? And if we had Jennifer, we're splitting it 3 ways, and that's fine. But if everyone brought an acre, then we would continue to have our standard, right? And so that's essentially what we're trying to do with the parkland dedication is when growth comes in, we're asking that growth in one way or another, and we've done it both ways, through public parkland or through private parkland, for them to offload their residents in a safe way that doesn't impact the rest of the park system. Our park system shouldn't feel a 500 home impact. There should be something for them there. They absolutely should use all sides of the trails and all of our regional parks. We're not asking for that not to happen. What we're saying is in your daily activities, when you need to just go stretch your legs, you need to walk the dog, when you need the kid to play, those activities should happen within that 10-minute walk space. And that's what we're trying to do with parkland dedication. It allows us to load the new growth into the park system, and you have 2 options. If it's over 3 acres, if it's under 3 acres, I make the decision. If it's over 3 acres, it comes to this body, and this body has 1 of 2 options. They'll still work with staff through the development process because this lives in planning. So someone will come in, they'll plat a property, we'll work with planning as a staff to decide if we want the land they're willing to offer, if we want to require more land than they're giving us, etc. But there's 2 options, land or money in lieu of land. So they could pay us $46,350 an acre for the acres they owe us. So if they owed us 7 acres, they could give us 7 acres, or we could take less and we could charge them some, or they could give us 7 acres times $46,350. Now that number is pretty antiquated. Our master plan showed that. Part of our 18-month rollout will us be raising that number to make it more valuable for them to give land than money. But we can take that money and use that to improve other parks in the area or even purchase property. So that money isn't bad. In fact, I looked over the last, my 4.5 years here, we have almost $300 million in parkland dedication and parkland development fees that have come, and we've seen the growth in areas of our park system, but we've seen almost that much value in land given as well. So we've been about 50-50 on that. But this body works with staff to decide if they want land or fee in lieu, but land just isn't enough. If a developer just gave us green space, we would then have to put a playground on it. That's where the development fee comes in. So on top of giving land or money, they still have to even give us money to develop on that land, or they have to give us more money than they've already given us to develop land when we purchase it. So you will be making a decision on two things: parkland dedication and then parkland development. That recommendation goes to planning and zoning. In very rare cases, it goes to city council. Sometimes if planning and zoning denies it and they need a supermajority, or if it's attached to a PUD or something like that, for the most part, your recommendation goes to planning and zoning. Planning and zoning is gonna decide to bring that plan, that plat across the finish line. And then, like I said, unless there's some rare cases where it's tied up in a developer's agreement, it ends at planning and zoning at some level. Anything after that's just usually consent for council. What's new in park? So that's Parks and Rec Commission, what we call park in 2024, Deutschenfest chair. So one of the things we saw and we've seen is, and Amy can speak to this, is that we've had a terrible time, and Melissa can speak to this too, we've had a terrible time staffing Deutschenfest. We never have as many board members as we have spots.
You're talking about staffing the Deutschenfest committee.
Committee.
Yes.
Not volunteers at
Nope,
Deutschenfest.
sorry,
Okay,
the
got it.
Deutschenfest committee.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
last year we had 8, in the last couple of years, we've had 8 open spots, and then someone from this committee served as chair to be 9, and we've never had 9. Amy, who was supposed to be chair, has also had to fill in other roles. Staff have had to help. Other people have taken on responsibilities, like Melissa, that probably should have had 2 help, and she was doing it herself, or the same thing with vendors in previous years. And so what council decided to do is bump that back from 9 to 7, and then not have a chair from our committee. So our committee won't have a chair. Our committee is still heavily involved in Deutschenfest, and we have it right at any time to get updates and have people come through. But we've had trouble getting any more than 6 or 7 to actively participate already. So why continue to add a heavier number and add another layer of government that committee's got to supposedly operate under for them to be able to serve the public? So Deutschenfest is it's got a lot of eyes on it. It's got city council members, subcommittee looks at it, the committee looks at it, staff looks at it. Right now, there was a chair from another committee looking at it, so they just removed a layer for it.
What I just wait for is somebody to complain about Deutschenfest, and I said, you need to be on the committee.
And you know what?
Just-
Hopefully 4
seriously.
people complain, because we're about 4 spots.
I'll be on the committee. I'm complaining.
The next thing is, and Trista mentioned it, agenda uniformity. We used to have future agenda items on our thing, but council got rid of it and planning and zoning got rid of it. And so now if you have a future agenda item, you just come talk to me or whoever the chair is, and we can decide to put it on, but it's not a thing that we're up here discussing and trying to figure out. Because a citizen can't know what we're fixing to discuss. We'd say, oh, discussion for future agenda item, and you might say stage and you might say trail, but we didn't know that ahead of time, so it didn't make us fall within. So anyways, it's been removed. And then leadership positions. We'll be voting for chair next time. We'll be voting for the vice chairman as well. And then we'll have an update on all the subcommittees. We're getting one today, and we'll have the update on the other ones next time. And then we'll allow y'all to start to decide if y'all want to apply to be on those. Okay, so this isn't, I know I just said we weren't gonna do it. And now we're gonna. It's not in 5B, it's not, we're not doing discuss and consider anything. I'm just letting you know, here are some agenda items that were going to happen. Like I said, we're gonna have elections. We should have some parkland dedication. So after my brief parkland dedication description, if for some reason you want more training on that to feel comfortable, new folks or older folks, reach out to me. And I'll set some time on schedule between now and the next meeting to talk to you about any questions you have about parkland dedication. So you can feel comfortable voting on it. And then the CIP discussion, like I said, we're gonna start with our CIP presentation in February, what staff recommends that we think about for our 5-year, and then this body will have a month to think about it and come back. We'll come back with any comments you have from February, make those changes. And then we'll make the presentation again as a discuss and consider in March. Okay, now the actual update. The folks that are usually here, none of that will ever happen again. So, actual update just for what happened since the last time we met. Our programs and events, I'll run through this pretty quickly because it's been a long meeting already, but we have some recurring classes and programs and events that we have. For more information on any of those, you can always check on our calendar and you can find those as well. Senior trips, these are the upcoming senior trips we have between now and our next meeting. Our dad and daughter dance is scheduled for February 17th at the Lions Club. Jonathan and his team have been brainstorming some special events. Do you have anything to say here?
Yeah, just if you have any feedback on anything you would like to see at the special events or any cool ideas that you see, please send them over to me so our staff can start looking at them.
We try to do a wonder phase on all of our events before it's a brainstorming phase. It's a way for me to say, can we do a zip line at this park? And my staff tells me no. But it's the opportunity to really throw some creative ideas up against the wall. And then, you know, what Jonathan likes to do is he likes to program me out of them. So I can't say, hey, you know, have we thought of this? So I've had all those moments. So we're in the brainstorming phase for a lot of our events coming up. So if you have any interest, let Jonathan know. We have 3 permitted events coming up. We have a U.S. road running 5K, 10K at Finnig. We have the Mardi Gras Maniacs in Mass 5K, February 10th, and the Couples Shuffle, a 5-10K at the lake on February 17th. Festival of Lights. Oh, look at that. It's all gifted. Festival of Lights, it was the first Saturday in December. We had 50 floats, which was a huge number for us. In fact, it almost really caps us out because of how the head of the snake ultimately catches up with the tail of the snake and it hasn't cleared. So we're looking at some opportunities to create some more movement somewhere in downtown to allow the parade to flow without ever catching up to itself. Because when it does, the parade stops, and no one likes a parade that stops. So, but 50 right now is kind of the capacity for what we're at. We had 3 musicals, Santa, 3,800 visitors per our Placer data, and we had about a 99-minute dwell time as well. Placer data is something you'll hear us say more and more. That is our AI data collector that our PCDC and police and transportation and other groups use as a way to track how many folks are in a roadway, how many folks are at an event, how many people are living in an area for future Costco development or whatever. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. So. Freeze Flop, January 1st. It's a 1-hour event every year. I thought it was colder now, 45 degrees.
Really cold.
That was the listed temperature. I didn't know
we're
what that
lying.
feels like.
We were saying that
colder. I
to
went
get
to that.
we were saying that to get y'all in there because it was colder.
It was in the
It was
40s
cold.
whenever.
Everyone that came out would promise it was
I didn't
colder.
get a shirt though.
Oh no,
Got one
Nathan, you were in there.
I had a freeze flop.
We had about 250 participants, and we were able to donate over 363 pounds of food to Hope of Life. No, that's not it.
Circle of Hope.
Circle of Hope. Man,
You were close.
I was trying to throw a bunch of nice sounding words together. Goats. I don't know if you saw on Facebook or along the trail. We're Trail Capital Texas, so we've got a lot of trail. We're trying to figure out ways to mitigate some of the underbrush and the poison ivy and some of the things that happens in a more wilder area. And Junior and I had been talking and racking our brains a little bit, and we had talked to some folks, and the cost to go through and do some of that was astronomical with human beings. And so we found goats to do it. And we tried doing it with the pilot program. We did a stretch between Windermere to Pflugerville?
Gillen Creek.
Gillen Creek, okay. Yeah, all the way down to Gillen Creek. And we had great results with it. It's probably something we're going to try to do again in the spring.
Who owns these goats? Are they privately owned?
It's crazy, right? So we started researching, and there are folks that have smaller goat herds, 12 or 15 that they'll bring out. They brought out 200.
Oh, wow.
And they rip and run. They go through an acre a day or so with that
Is
200.
this like, this could be a public event that we could watch the goats? I mean,
And we could
Greatest
put
of
shirts
all
on
time.
them, you know, like advertise. This company's called Goatscaping. They're out of the Dallas Fort Worth area. They have a great little family that runs it, and they bring the herder on site, and they stay the whole time. They set up this fencing, and like I said, those goats run through. In fact, something we're going to do in the future. Another opportunity with them is after goats come through, and goats eat at a certain level, and I don't know a lot about this, but you're just going to have to trust me. Goats eat a certain amount at a certain level. Well, they have sheep that'll come in afterwards, and they eat different stuff that the goats don't eat. Between the goats and the sheep, the herder will actually throw the wildflower seed, And the fertilizer between the two and the sheep kind of stomping it in actually is a great way to make sure the wildflower seed grows. So,
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and we don't have to throw it. So that'll be something we're going to try to do moving forward as well. So you'll see goats and sheep and I don't know, donkeys in the future, whatever we're going to see.
Cool.
Bull's house. We have an estimated move in by the end of February. We're going to ribbon cut the opportunity. We're going to invite the Bowles family and the Pfluger family. I would love to see the park commission out. When I have more information on when that is, I'll let you know. Ultimately, our leadership team will be in there. So Junior and Jonathan, our assistant director, myself, Jasmine, our admin, Larry, and Dave, our forester, our project planner will all be in there. And we have some flex offices as well for folks. It won't be super outward facing because, as you know, none of us are actually good at doing anything, so we can't help with a rental or anything like that. But we will host meetings there. We will have people, I'm sure, coming in, walking in, and talking to us as well. But most of our meetings will still be at the rec center here and other spots at City Hall. You won't be booking a membership or a rental in this facility.
Oh, man.
Not with the knuckleheads that are staffing it. Adopt a Creek, this is new for 2024, late 2023, early 2024. We've done Adopt a Spot and Adopt a Trail in the past. This is an Adopt a Creek option. Falls along the lines with the 2-year commitment. You fill out the application online, sign in. Your sign goes into a spot that the agency's taking care of. So we're super excited about what that is going to help us with our creek.
What's the cost involved in that?
No cost.
Okay. Cool.
I'll give you as much creek cleanup as you want.
Give me some goat.
Jonathan may not, but I will. Other things to tie a little bow on. Royal Point was something we've been working on. You can see the new shade on the playground. That came earlier this year that y'all supported that. And then we came back and we did this nice new playground piece to match that shade. On the right, you can see there's 2 benches. One bench was heavily shaded by the tree on the far side of it and the tree that's right next to it. So most of the year that one's really shaded, but this bench didn't have any shade. So this one right now has shade. That one we'll hope will be taken care of by the trees. And then if you look beyond it, that basketball court got a new basketball goal. And it was, when it was done, they put a basketball goal here and a basketball goal here, like catty corner next to each other. So they weren't running full court. And we think that was because they didn't want kids out there all night playing basketball. But it's a basketball court, and we're a park. So we put basketball goals set up in the traditional style so kids in the neighborhood can be playing games of basketball. And you can also see the 2 to 5 piece just beyond the trees that we installed as well. So it got a complete reno, and we're super excited about it. Freeze damage, staff worked really hard. We had one thing freeze on us and pop. It was a filter and ice machine that is stored at Deutsche Fest shed. So
It's been there for how many years?
the shed's been there a long time. Not a lot of damage to the machine. We can just replace it and put a new filter in there. We're right now assessing. We're letting it dry out, assessing what we had in there, but it doesn't look like we got any damage really in there. So we actually, compared to previous storms, came out pretty good. And that is the director's report. Awesome.
Good job.
I think we have a quick update for the subcommittee, and then we've got Aaron's last art update.
What about downtown east? Are we talking about that too?
So we're
Amy's not here.
we're trying to start a Parks Foundation. So it'll be a separate nonprofit from the Parks and Rec department, but it'll be to help support parks programs and different projects and stuff. So we started this like 4 months ago, something like that.
Brought in a previous Parks and Rec director.
Yeah, to give us all the information on how to start and a bunch of resources, so it's made it really easy. So we've, at this point, we've filed nonprofit paperwork. We're still waiting on that, but we think it's gone through. We have a logo, and we finished our final drafts of our bylaws, our roles. We currently have 4 people on the board with the potential for a 5th. So Chelsea and I are both on the board, and then we have 2 other citizens of Pflugerville, and then 1 more that might come on. So we're currently working on our purpose statement, and some potential projects that we want to start with, and then our next step is to meet with staff and go over everything and kind of get on the same page. So yeah, Sterling, do you have anything to add, or?
We do also have a draft MOU that we've written out as well.
Yeah.
That you probably would want to see like before we meet.
Is
to
this
we'll
a subcommittee that you think will probably put this to bed at some point, because you won't need it, because you'll actually have the foundation? Or is this be a
Correct.
subcommittee you always have?
From my understanding, the subcommittee
Oh,
was
yeah.
to
Just
investigate
establish, yeah.
how to establish a foundation, which, you know,
Yeah,
is
you're-
leading to
you're
us
probably
establishing
right.
a
We can-
foundation.
Do you think
so
that we would carry the subcommittee on in the rest of 2024, or would this be one that we would not have in February?
We probably don't need it.
Okay.
Obviously, if anybody's interested in joining, though, you can. But yeah, we probably don't need it to be an official subcommittee anymore,
Yeah.
because we've kind of gotten the ball rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's good to know. Any questions about the foundation? I'm sure maybe there are some. Or the idea of a foundation? This is for a Parks and Rec.
well, one question I
Friends of.
do have is, so there'll at least be 2 commission members on there. Does there have to be a subcommittee to bring it as an agenda item, or could us give foundation updates? Because I'm sure that
Yeah.
folks would be interested in hearing updates about
Absolutely.
the foundation
Oh,
or any
yeah.
projects. So a subcommittee would not have to be like a
No.
mechanism to have it on our agenda.
You'd
to-
reach out to me or whoever the chair is and say, we have an update.
Yeah, we'd like to
Yeah.
show people some pictures of a project we were able to,
Absolutely.
okay.
So is your model sort of like the Pflugerville Foundation is a nonprofit to support the school district and having events or fundraising, or what's your purpose in supporting Parks and Rec?
A lot of fundraising.
Got it.
That'll be one of our big focuses.
Yeah.
So
But it is to support the Parks and Rec initiatives, or I
Mhm.
think that's,
yeah, for sure.
Sell the
it's
goat.
trying to bridge the
It's sell
gap
the
in a lot of
goat.
ways.
It allows a 501c more donation-based mechanism
Absolutely.
to fund things within Pflugerville, working directly with Parks Department on, you know, what does the citizens want, what were some things that they weren't able to fit within their budget, and
Yeah.
working directly together on
Yeah,
how
it's
to
a nice-
proceed with using.
Nice partnership.
Yeah.
A lot of other departments, a lot of other Parks and Rec agencies have them, for
Yep.
sure, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Cool. All right, Aaron is going to wow you with
And-
more arts.
I will try to go through it pretty quickly, since this has been a long agenda. But if I'm going too fast, feel free to slow me down. So we wanted to kind of take an opportunity, because it's almost been a year since I have seen y'all, right?
Already?
Right? From at least from a public art perspective. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to come in and kind of show you all of the art that we've been able to install over the past year. And so this was actually our first one at Gillen Creek Trail. It's Fishville.
Was that Sarah and Topher?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we have 2 sculptures out at Lake Pflugerville. We love Rockman and Pebble. We have some stickers.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. We also have pavement art out at Lake Pflugerville. We are substantially completed on the mosaic art at Wilbarger Creek Park. We are working with the artist to seal the grout, but it's substantially complete. In the plaza, we had the Color Cartel come out during Slice of Pflugerville, and they did a live painting performance. That's one of the reasons why you hadn't seen that. That's one of the exceptions where any sort of art that is created for an event or during an event, it doesn't have to be reviewed. But that was one of the art installations that was created from it. And then we also have another mural in the plaza, and that was under that 3,000 mark. That's one of the
Important for the Color Cartel, we got double the value. I mean, we've got something in our park system that we would have had to pay for a mural or a fine arts piece, but we also got to see them perform it live so there's an entertainment value for those that got to see it at Slice, which was really cool.
Yeah, and we'll try to incorporate that with this next Slice of Pflugerville as well. Also within the plaza, while the Unity mural was already there, we actually had the artist come back out and do some maintenance on it, and we also put a a nice clear coat on it to help preserve it, because it's right underneath the roof line of Hanover, so it needed some help. And then also the PF Heartbeat bench that we have. It's not in the plaza, but it's right next to it. Also, we have a new Art Rocks garden. Whoever attended Deutschenfest, y'all may have participated in some rock painting for this new garden, but it's in the best little plaza in Texas, right next to City Hall. And, you know, a lot of the really great rocks do happen to walk off on occasion.
Why do you always throw away my rocks that I take?
You have never given me any rocks.
I've
You may have
so
thrown
many
some
rocks.
But yeah, so it is there. We plan to have another Art Rocks booth at Slice of Pflugerville, so another engagement opportunity at an event. And I'll leave that for Shane's update next time. We have some fun art ideas for that. While not in the parks, we do want to acknowledge the other locations. At the library, 2 sculptures have been installed at the library over this past year.
Can I ask you about the one done by Akarash? I was at the library a couple of weeks ago. Who does maintenance on the lighting on that? Because they were having problems getting that to light properly. It stays on red.
Oh,
instead
okay.
of-
So there's a remote. I can reach out to Jennifer.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Peter was telling me about it because we were standing out there talking about it. He says they just stays on red and they don't know how to fix it.
I'll have to go check that out again. I do know that it alternates the color the longer you stay there. So there was one night where I was taking pictures. So I wanted to get right at dusk where you have a really nice sky. But I do remember that it gradually changed colors. I had to wait a while for it to give me the green, orange, red.
Full spectrum.
Yeah. So that is out at the library. I do want to also relay to you that we created a public art questionnaire that we first started giving out at Deutschenfest and some of the other events that we've had with the city. It's a very super short questionnaire that you have in front of you. We found it to be very effective in kind of confirming what we believe the community wanted in terms of themes. And so we did kind of a little word cloud here based off of some of the results. We have 95 questionnaires filled out for multiple events. And I do have this in front of me, but for the question of where would you like to see more public art in the city, and this was all an open question, sort of an open-ended question, so that we just really didn't lead the people into a certain sort of category.
Does one of those say Walgreens?
No,
That
but
It does look such a
It does look
Walgreens. Underpasses.
It says underpass.
Oh, okay.
it does kind of look like that.
I mean, Walgreens is a nice place too.
That's exactly what I thought that
Waiting to
said.
pick up a prescription to get some nice art.
And so for this particular question, this shouldn't come as a surprise to you, but the majority of people responded with parks and trails and downtown.
Way more than the library or Walgreens.
Yeah, Walgreens is not on my list, but yeah, underpasses was one. And so generally we are definitely going along the right path with kind of focusing in on parks. You'll see that for fiscal year 24, we are programming a lot of that funding to trails. That's cool. A significant amount. So you're welcome. So the next question was, what sort of themes would you like to see represented in the city's public art collection? This is another word cloud. And what's not clear from the word cloud is that out of all of the responses, diversity and culture and representation was at the top, and that shouldn't actually come as a surprise. We definitely love how diverse our community is, and the community wants to see it represented in the collection of art. The next one was kid-friendly, and the third one was nature. And so this kind of leads to the projects that we anticipate pursuing in fiscal year '24. In December, we did a call for artists. It was a national call posted on a national website. And, I probably should have planned it out a little bit better. I didn't realize how many submissions we would get. A lot of emails coming through. But we had 85 submissions. There was a couple international artists that weren't qualified, but they are eligible. But a lot of talented artists. Our staff art committee comprises about 20 people, but we have a subcommittee of that where they will be reviewing all those 85 submissions. It will be very difficult for them, but ultimately, in the scoring matrix, we do have it to where there is some preference to Texas artists. So local, regional, and Texas artists. So in mid-February, we hope to have all of those submissions reviewed and identify the semifinalists. We do, in the call for art, we did say that we may hire multiple artists for the same site in order to then further evaluate after the design process on who can proceed to installation. There's another opportunity in that as well, just from an operational standpoint, where at this particular location along Grand Avenue, it's 620 feet in length. This is going to be multiple years of really getting art installed, and so there is some advantage of really starting this design process early. We may only be able to get 3 or 4 installations in across all of the project locations, but it gets us to the next fiscal year where we may already have something lined up, and it's a cohesive sort of design throughout. Again, this particular location is 620 feet in length.
That's not Gillen, that's the trail that goes along Gillen Creek and then it goes up to Grand Avenue.
Yeah, so this
yeah,
wall
that
is
needs some
essentially
TLC.
the roadway, yeah.
It's kind of like the dead end, but then you got
Yeah.
Uh,
I have 2 questions. Have you made public all of these answers?
Not yet. It's
Okay.
we have found that these responses are so incredibly valuable that we don't really plan on ending the questionnaire. There's a little station at the library where people can just drop in their feedback. But we are definitely seeing a trend of what sort of themes and locations people would like to see art.
And what's the subcommittee? You said subcommittee about judging the art.
So we have, similar to like a CIP process where we have staff review for qualifications of artists, it gives us an opportunity to look at their references too
So it's
and
city
reach
staff.
out. Right.
Okay.
And so from that list, we can then move forward into working with artists in the design process. This is one thing that we have changed from last year where we did a call for art, but in the call for art, we asked for the design concept up front. It's not an ideal situation because you're typically not going to get many submissions. Artists don't want to work for free. They want to make sure that their time is valued. And so there's always an inherent risk in going through the design process with the artist and saying, I think we'll probably go a different direction or something like that. But generally speaking, we believe that this is the best process moving forward, is working with them through the design process, giving them an opportunity to work with staff on coming up with a concept that is in line with kind of the themes that the community wants to see in the art, and bring it forward.
Any plans on having any citizen committee or nonprofit committees or anything?
So not at this time.
Made up of
So
artists?
We're modeling it after our CIP program.
Got it.
But we do make it very clear to the artists that even through the design process when working with staff, it doesn't guarantee approval.
Yeah.
It allows us to be respectful of the artist, pay them for their time in the design process, and then put a proposal forward to any sort of board or commission. But it also gives staff the opportunity to really make sure that the artists are qualified and they can actually complete the work. Many a times you'll find that artists will actually hire subcontract out for assistance, similar to the artist couple, based off of the extent of the mural. Many hours go into creating extensive murals. So what we anticipate is once the semifinalists are selected, we'll work with them on a design contract, and they will then have 30 or 45 days to provide us a design concept. And we hope to bring forward proposals potentially in May, June for your consideration. 85 submissions. We're unsure what that semifinalist list looks like at this point, but very, very talented artists. And, you know, I really thought that I was getting ahead of the curve here this fiscal year. I'm like, oh, getting this call for artists out, it's December, it's fine. But when you start looking at schedule, we're already in a summer install, which is, I have learned, paint does not like above 90 degrees. And so the best opportunity would be May, June, and then July, August. I probably would recommend that we start the install in October.
Late September.
Yeah, I really would prefer that the weather behave, but we had this past summer, it was incredibly hot. And those trail murals that were actually on the pavement were very challenging during that install. So lessons learned, definitely start early in the design process in that fiscal year. So that's what we anticipate is some of these locations is the install will be rolling into fiscal year 25. So this is the Grand Avenue location. It's the Gilliland Creek Trail West, so it's the very start of that trail, right? This is also where the 5K starts, right, or ends somewhere in there?
It gets there.
So we plan on having at least phase 1, 2, and 3, at least in the design process. The priority phase would be phase 1. There's really, as you're kind of wrapping around this trail, and there's the trees that are kind of framing that. It's a perfect location for.
You have to walk farther for disappointment.
Kind of, huh?
You have to walk farther for your disappointment.
Well, no, it's just like if I was an artist, this would be my location. So this one would be very critical in terms of what that content would be and help to create a cohesive sort of flow throughout that whole location. If it is helpful at all, the future northern phases, it's about 300 feet in length, and the height is between 6 feet and 1 foot. So very accessible for potential public art engagement opportunities. So if we do any
children.
Yeah.
Kids.
So that one,
It's
the
like
northern.
seeing the box of Cheerios down on the lower level of HEB.
Yeah. So the northern phases, we're kind of we're rationing that. We want to make sure that, you know, if there's an opportunity where we can engage the public, that's where we want them to go. Swenson Farms is another location.
That'd be awesome.
God, that'd be a good location. It's all my rain trails.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
And then the final one is the FM 685 Trail Underpass. This is actually the third kind of ranked one where there's some things that we need to address, similar to the Brook Hollow site. There's some joints that we need to kind of take a look at. We also need lighting down there, and we need to work with Encore first. So there's just some things that we have to do and get that project kind of ready. But it does give us the opportunity to at least start the design work.
It's part of what they would call the Heritage Trail Loop.
Yes. In this particular location, we plan on having it, the theme being culture, diversity, inclusion. We just feel like it's the perfect location being along Heritage Loop Trail.
Look at you.
I know, I did pretty well getting through those.
Pretty,
Good
pretty
job.
good.
Good job.
Any questions for Aaron?
Just thank you. Oh, if we have did we get our questionnaires to give to you if we have answers?
Is it
She's
still
like, these are
open?
just examples. Did you mean for us to sign these?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
would love for
Okay.
your feedback.
Cool. So
I'll
it's still
add it
open.
to
It's
my.
still open.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
open. We don't plan on. Well, I don't plan on shutting it down anytime soon. We just have so much really great
I
feedback.
gave lots of suggestions.
Yeah.
Walgreens.
Okay, the last agenda item is my fault because it actually is lacking an agenda item. You see Emily's not here tonight. I miscommunicated with Emily. She wasn't able to be here. But she did say, they're getting to a point where it would actually be better if she held off a little bit and came back and did a presentation when she has a little bit more to update us on. So she's probably gonna do it in March or April, maybe after CIP. For those that don't know about Downtown East, you can definitely catch up more of it online, but it is this section here that was owned by the Pfluger family that the city has purchased and is working with the developer to put ultimately the new rec center, if my mouse works,
Yes.
and the new city hall, and having a great plaza, and then seeing some public-private partnership and other development opportunities with parking and retail and all the things that she could talk to about better than I could. But we will have it. We'll have it in the future. But if you have any specific questions between now and then, let me know and I can forward it to you. And I apologize for. I was talking to her. She's like, "Oh, I'm not going to be there." I was like, "Well, it's on the agenda. We learned from Trista. You can't do anything about that." So it's my fault. And we already did.
Look at that. That's so beautiful.
Oh, dang! I ran all the way through. The last one's just to adjourn. So if I can get a motion in a second, I won't put it back up.
I'll set a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And we are adjourning at 9:11. So